the children. I will make them plump and delicious for feeding.
And now you can understand what caused the American obesity epidemic of the 80s and 90s.
Look at me. They gave me a tube with 100 weaponized dum-dums in it. You're squeezing it into your head. It almost feels like somebody had like too much leftover like sucker batter, and they were like, all right, we got to move all of this slime.
We got to do something with this.
We got to do something with this. Can you move this? Oh, boy. Folks, welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premier paranormal preparedness podcast. My name's Jordan Dahl.
I'm Nate Balding.
I'm Roger Norquist, and I just want to remind everyone to just please Google the book in PDF.
Oh boy. Today's episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by Elden Scroll of the Rings, a hacky predatory facsimile of the video game you really wanted, designed to trick Grandma and take her money. But you can't stay mad at Grandma. She's trying. And they just robbed her. Elden Scroll of the Rings. The man at the store said this was the one.
It's still a good
probably
game.
Works for Monstroko.
You'll still put 20 hours into it.
You will. A lot of them will be shouting, speaking backwards, bleeding from the eyes. Most of the kind of side effects that come with Monstroko games, the flashing, the fractal patterns, the numbers. It's not unfun, but it hurts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Monstroko, getting into video games.
Bummer.
Is there anything they're not reaching their tentacles into?
They are everywhere. Monstroko, boy, they made the worst 90s candies. You'll hear about it next week. Oh boy. What do we got for him this week, Squadge?
Well, we're gonna deep dive some cursed objects, haunted objects,
Hell
etc.
yeah.
That's right. Werewolf Radar deep dive.
It's a fun corner of paranormaphernalia, if you will. That sucked. I'm sorry. I'll have something for you by Monday. It is a fun. I did a list of cursed objects recently, and we said at the time we were like, we got to just kind of crack the nut on these one by one, and now we're doing it, and I'm excited. It makes me feel like an artificer gathering like the 12 power relics.
Mm-hmm. It does. For me, it makes me feel like we're one of the American pickers.
Sure. Yeah. Remember every like 7th episode when he'd be like, yeah, I gave you 1,500 for the Screaming Skull. This sword, was it used to decapitate the God King of any future lineages?
If you don't mind, I'd like to go first with a little overview,
Please.
kind of how these things happen.
Hit it.
I think we need it.
Sounds great.
This is culled from a much, much longer article, so it's kind of going to be a little bit jumpy.
Sure.
So there's a whole first part about skeptics talking about ghosts, but we're going to jump down.
Yeah, come on, skeptics. What's your problem? Don't you have fun?
I know, really. We're
Why do you hate fun?
to
because you're an alcoholic. Nobody cares, skeptics.
We're going to spiritual teacher and psychic Sylvia Brown, who, as of the writing of this article, was on her 50th anniversary lecture tour, who poo-poos the traditional Dickensian idea of ghosts rattling chains. Honey, it's not haunted, it's negative energy. Everything has energy. There are no ghosts attached to anything, but I don't ever doubt that there's energy attached to something. Energy can be very strong. You can even buy new things, like a purse that you carry around a couple of weeks, and people bring them down to us week after week and say, I don't want it, because it's full of negative energy.
Dude,
Karen...
fucking brilliant business model to where your business model is basically selling items that people give you.
I don't even want the money back. I'll take store credit.
Well, you're not gonna want it. It's all haunted.
Karen Karen Frazier, a paranormal investigator in Washington State and a reporter for Paranormal Underground, says she was ridiculously skeptical when she started her research. Quote, but my experiences as an investigator changed my mind. Now I do believe that paranormal events happen. I don't know for sure that you can say they're ghosts because we don't know what a ghost is. I still look at everything with a skeptical eye because too many people think that anything that goes bump in the night is a ghost, and it's not. Some objects have some kind of energy attached to them that manifests as what you would call a haunting.
I think we're playing semantics here at this point. Like, obviously, we don't really know what a ghost is. It just kind of like, it's not really dark matter, you stupid shit. I know it's not really dark. We're just using it as a placeholder.
But again, at the same time, it's like, we don't know that. Maybe it is.
It could. Yes, exactly. Maybe it is my grandma. Let me have something.
Let me have this.
Paranormal investigators and researchers tend to distinguish between innocuous hauntings and what we think of ghosts, Fraser explains. What parapsychologists refer to as a haunting is like what you and I would think of as a recording, residual energy trapped in whatever object it is, and it replays itself. There's nothing intelligent about it. It just plays the same thing over and over. Then sometimes you can have objects that actually have what people would assume to be a spirit attached to them, which has some intelligence. So that would be like if you were dead and decided you wanted to hang out with your favorite dress or your favorite chair. I still call it an energy because I don't know that what we experience paranormally is necessarily the ghost of a dead person. In addition,
fair.
some people may be able to read objects that are not haunted at all, Fraser says.
Yeah,
That's
I can read books, for instance.
Road signs.
Jordan, are you a bookomancer?
I know how to use them. I'm one of the ones. I'm one of the chosen. I was taught by a bird on a street I can't find anymore. Can you tell me how to get there?
Which is actually a form of psychic work people do called psychometry, where you hold an object and you read off of it. A lot of people mistake that for an object being haunted. For example, I used to have an antique piano, 100 years old or older, in my house. When I would sit down and play it, I would see flashes of the people who'd played the piano before me and where they lived.
Dude.
Wow.
Frightening. Sorry, frightening.
I often see flashes of places and things and people and dialogue that have nothing to do with my life when I'm like falling asleep. And it seems to I think the scientific explanation would be, neurons randomly firing, whatever, connecting. Right. But I mean, I think the psychic interpretation is like it almost seems like I'm
tapping into the subconscious of the entire planet,
of people around me, like people within a block, almost like as we're falling asleep, I'm like kind of uploading to the web, as it were, wherever we all go.
It's not necessarily, she goes on, it's not necessarily that there's anything active going on with the piano, but I'm touching that object and somehow I'm reading the energy of it. On his VAC at the Museum of the Paranormal, Zaffis, who was a previous skeptic, agrees that such phenomena are all about energy, but he has a different theory about how the energy got there. With most of the items in the museum, they have been used in rituals, usually when spells are being cast, he writes. Although the items were not possessed, items can hold energy within or around them, and it's usually the result of the energy being sent to the object by an individual. Brown, another psychic, says that it's more likely that an item holds negative energy because something traumatic happened around the object or someone was killed with the object in their possession. There's no such thing as a curse, Brown says. That's just a goofy fortune teller's way of getting money.
Well, I got an item I want to talk about later, but go on.
Yeah.
However, Brown does
stay tuned, dipshit.
Brown does believe that you have to be careful when you're in an antique store. The key, she says, is to touch things and see if they're unnaturally cold or if they give off a bad vibe. I know this woman who bought an antique ring, and when she put it on, she got sick. She was sick until she took it off. I told her, just give it away, because she was unusually sensitive to its energy.
Interesting. I've heard of stuff like that as well.
Which I mean, if you're
not bragging, just
if you're atypically attuned to some sort of ghost world, it makes sense to
I wonder if
avoid antique shops altogether.
What were you going to say, Raj?
I don't think I am.
Okay.
Well, my lady has like that connection-ish to a more spiritual side.
Sure.
So I have a lot more fun in antique shops than she does.
I would say that
walking around scowling. No.
I'm like, look at this doll with the evil eyes.
No, don't look at the doll. I would say that I am to a certain degree, but I don't claim to know what it is or where it comes from. Like, I'm not the type of person to be like, Harold is here. I'd just be like, I just saw a weird image of somebody in my head, and I guess the name Harold is coming to mind. Like, I might get that, something like that pop into my head, but I almost to the point where it's like I would never even mention it,
Right.
Like,
that's fair. Just like a weird, like, for some reason it just Harold, or like for some reason it's you just kind of sense what someone's thinking, and like you kind of like hear what they're thinking. And have you ever like responded to someone's thoughts? Kind of
definitely not, because it's something that like I'm only kind of now becoming aware of, like only recently, is like I wonder if that's what people are talking about when they're talking about being quote unquote psychic, where it's like you have a flash of like even like an atmosphere, like when you're watching a movie or something and you're like, this movie has a great atmosphere, like you get a flash of that sometimes, like you feel a vibe where it's like
a passing moment of insight.
Sure, yeah. Or like even a smell sometimes. It'll be like, what is that? Like, and it's not like you're smelling it, it's like your mind is remembering something you've never smelled before.
Interesting.
And they feel somehow exterior. So again, not claiming that I'm like psychic or anything, but in becoming aware of like thoughts and perceptions that feel exterior, especially when I'm in that like subliminal, just falling asleep stage, I've noticed some interesting, pretty freaky shit.
All right. Working for South Sound Paranormal Research in Washington State, Fraser says most of her clients are not even aware when a haunting is attached to a thing. When we first met with a particular client, I just had this sense that he had something old and this ghost was attached to it. After some prodding, the client revealed he had a Masonic sword from his grandfather. He was very proud to be a Freemason.
+1 magic sword, if I've ever heard of one.
So, of course, they got to using a ghost box. Mm-hmm. And the thing started saying Opa over and over and over.
Opa!
I said to him, did you call your grandpa Opa? And he did. Opa. It's German for grandpa.
It is.
And then the box started saying the guy's name. The grandfather probably had these high hopes that his grandson would be a Mason too. He didn't make it. Working for the South Sound Paranormal Research. Nope. That's the same paragraph.
Dude, being a Mason is a lot of hard work. Have you seen that documentary?
No. Well,
so there's
like
a Mason documentary.
Like
yeah, like a real, like what we're talking
with
about.
Rock.
Like, both are hard work, okay? But yeah, I mean, it's like what we're talking, a stonemason with a sword and whatnot. Like, you have to basically abandon your family to help the community, and then also make sure that the stonemason house knows that you're also a good family person.
I think that like that's
it's an insane brotherhood. It's like the Elks Club times 10.
I think that's part of the reason that like they kind of tend to be family members, like they keep it in the family, as it were.
You can also save one. Like, should you accidentally push one out into the street and then save one, you can become a stonemason.
Now, if you stop poisoning someone, is that saving them?
It is.
Nice. That's the Werewolf Radar code. Weirdly, wait, I got one more crazy thing for you. Weirdly, the fire. Maybe I shouldn't. A guy
tell this secret
in a high-ranking position in the city in where I grew up, who is now dead, R.I.P. Fully let me into the Masons Lodge one time and was like, yeah, look around, pick up the swords, look through the secret passages, read wear the chalice as a hat. I didn't, obviously, but and he was like, this place is haunted. This place is so haunted.
They are very open like that. I hear we know, I know a few stonemasons, and it's very much as though we are a society that does their secret things and rituals because that's what our society chooses to do. But then they're also and we do community cookouts. Yeah. And then we do the ritual where we all wear kilts and pretend to be knights.
yeah.
But the point is, they're all about it. Wear the chalice as a hat. They're you learn about this. You can learn about us.
Yes, we all at one point felt the urge to put the chalice on as a hat. It's the best way to learn, young stoneling.
But all that shit is so steeped in tradition. I can see each and every fucking item in there is insanely filled with energy, I guess she would say.
Sure.
Yeah. Haunted.
My family has some kind of weird beef with the stonemasons. I don't know what it is, but I fully assume to be sprung upon by an assassin someday.
Well, you can hope.
Yeah.
She goes on to say her team has also spent a lot of time investigating objects at the nearby Lewis County Historical Museum. They once came across a Native American basket that twice created an EVP that said, "Please help me," in a woman's voice.
Come on.
Fraser believes this is more of a haunting or energy recording than an active, intelligent ghost seeking help in the present.
Oh, well, everybody. That's not called a haunting.
I can see what she means. A residual haunting of it, help me, and it's just trapped in the basket versus a D&D quest, to where you have to help the ghost and all she can say is help me.
Yes.
Everybody thinks that when you get a recording of a ghost, it's going to say one of two things: help me or get out. That's almost never what we get. And ghosts are a lot rarer than people think they are. People like the idea.
We get a lot of knock knock and long pause. We get a lot of Zeppelin rules.
We get orders for Chinese food.
We get a lot of Macarena. A lot of Howard Stern's Penis, Baba Booey.
People like the idea of ghosts because if it means that something happens to us after we die, and that's a very comforting thing. So people tend to take things that happen as being a haunting or a ghost when it's something normal and explainable. Probably 5% of what people think are ghosts may be something paranormal. In an experiment done by British cognitive psychologist Bruce M. Hood, he asked subjects if they'd like to wear Hitler's jacket or Jeffrey Dahmer's sweater, and they were repulsed by the idea.
Oh, come on.
If you ask them why, they feel as if there's an evilness carried by the article of clothing. But if you ask them if they'd like to wear Mr. Rogers' cardigan, they do. And if you ask how would you feel, they say more moral, upstanding, and good.
Wow.
Hood even put Brad Pitt's shirts up for sale on eBay, one washed and one unwashed. The unwashed version got the higher bid, as if the essence of Brad Pittness were soaked into the shirt.
Dude, that's the power relics for fucking sure.
Truly.
Did you know that there's just a shit ton of foreskin relics out there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we could somehow get a hold of Brad Pitt's foreskin, it'd be unstoppable.
They go on to talk about some of the olfactory things that you were talking about, Jordan.
Look, the hood of the Angelina Slayer.
And how objects that may bring up memories or sense that you're not used to just emanating from them.
Yeah.
They say, even though there might be comfort in the idea that ghosts exist, encounters with the paranormal are overwhelmingly scary to people because it's the unknown.
Yeah.
People tend to interpret it as being negative because they don't understand it. If you were a dick in life, you're probably going to be the same once you're dead. But we probably have less to fear from the dead than we do from the living. She goes on to say that
that's
most
true.
Spirits...
I would be more afraid of wearing Hitler's jacket if he was alive. What are you doing? Yelling at me in German.
She says, thanks to her work, she's had several ghost-like energies follow her home, and most of them have turned out to be harmless. Once the spirit of a child killed in an avalanche followed her home, it remains there still. She and her family have found a way to coexist with the kid, whom Fraser believes moves things and makes noises to get her attention, but means no harm. When he's rolling around a desk chair upstairs, she simply yells, knock it off. This to Fraser is evidence that so-called ghosts can go anywhere they please. I don't believe a spirit of a dead human can get stuck in an object. Just like we have free will in our living bodies, I believe that when our souls leave our bodies, they have free will too. So
come on,
your haunted object is less a spiritual like invasion and more just residual energies. But we all also believe in that stuff. So
I mean, I don't know, man. Fucking, there's that one show. I think it was like Ghost Asylum or Ghost Adventure or like Ghost Brothers. Ghost Brothers, I think.
No, you're thinking of the Three Ninjas Knuckle Up.
No, I'm thinking of the 3 ghost hunters that fucking electrify aquariums and supposedly trap the ghost.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I wonder what she would think about that show. Like, obviously she disagrees, but I would like to hear her opinion and like say, like, why can't this work? If they're not a ghost, are they trapping energy in the aquarium?
What do they do with them after
she believes the ghosts are real?
Sex.
They're definitely
but
fighting
they can't
those
be
ghosts,
put into objects.
Well,
they're either fighting them or fucking them.
The objects aren't necessarily cursed or attached to a spirit.
Oh, okay.
They just carry the residual energy of whatever, some traumatic event, or they're used in a ritual or something.
It is not the event itself. It is the key to the event.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Ghost Brothers and their techniques can still get a ghost, but this isn't what we're talking about. I misunderstood.
Yeah. I mean, once it's trapped in the aquarium, it's not attached to the aquarium. It's just trapped inside. Putting its face up against it.
Doing ghostly things. If you just met a guy and walked into his garage and there was a bunch of empty water-filled aquariums attached to like electrodes, and he was like, these are all ghosts, you'd be like, oh, you should see a doctor. But in certain occasions, you get that TV show. You get that TV show money, and they just get you a bigger garage with more aquariums.
More aquariums, yeah.
It is what it's all about.
Hey, prove that there's not a ghost in there, I'm sure they say sometimes.
Anyway, that's kind of an overview of haunted objects and how it happens and what it might be.
Very good. Very good. Roger, would you mind if I went next and you can close it on out?
I'll do it. Go next. Deep dive. Take us even deeper. Take us into the 8-foot part of the pool.
Into the 8-foot part of the pool. So I literally pulled from a list. There was a lot of good contenders on this list. The Spear of Longinus comes up.
Spear of Destiny, it's also called.
Howard Carter's Magic Ring.
Howard Stern is what you might know him as.
Yes, the ancient sorcerer Howard Carter, who's reborn as Howard Stern. Hand of Glory was on this list. A sword called Durandal, the Lothair crystal, the 7 League boots. Remember them?
Oh, yeah.
But then I got to the last item on this list, and I was like, whoa, I've never heard of this before. The number 1 item on Escafy's 10 real magical objects, the Galdrabok. Galdrabok is a name that means Book of Magic in Icelandic. The book was created around the 17th century in Iceland and contains instructions on performing 47 spells. This is a spell book. This is a grimoire.
Ooh,
the spells within Galdrabok cover a wide range of abilities, from causing the death of someone's pet animal. Bummer.
Ability number 1.
Yeah, that one's called Smite Bobo. to summoning demons and binding people so they can't move. Hold person.
Damn, that's a powerful spell book.
It's unclear who the book's 4 authors were, but provided clear instructions for each spell and ritual. But they provided clear instructions for each spell and ritual, which would be useful if there was such a thing as magic, says Escafy at the end of their highly editorialized list, I should say. So one cursory bing, bang, boom Google search later, and I have some of those spells. It might not be all the ones that you're hoping for, but here is 5 spells from medieval Iceland from medievalists.net.
All right. Fell those giants.
Yeah. Giant Bane spell. It's just a gun. Okay. Here are 5 spells from the Galdrabok, which range from helpful to cruel. This is a spell against headache and insomnia. So if you get a headache or you have sleep disturbances, write this verse and put it in your nightcap or under your bed in the evening in such a way. Oh no, you have to do it for someone. You have to in magic, you have to ensorcel them. You have to write this verse and put it in his nightcap or under his bed in the evening in such a way that he does not know about it. And the situation will be improved. This is the verse. Militant va vitaloth yebwa febwath.
Okay.
Militant va vitaloth yebwa febwath.
If it does not mind being mispronounced, I can do this spell.
I'm sure it doesn't. Well, we're gonna write it out. You're writing it on a piece of paper, so I'll just go ahead and drop this in the listen along, and then you can just copy paste it and probably print it out. I don't know if you have to write it, but that's the phrase to ward off headache and insomnia. Number 2, to get one's wish fulfilled. This is the wish spell for my D&D heads out there. Maybe the most powerful spell in Dungeons and Dragons. Read this verse 3 times forward and 3 times backward, and you will get the outcome you want for yourself. Forward, spread mans hock, feed tum bol. Backwards, boltum fi, hock man spread.
Oh, so it's not like actually backwards. It's just the words reversed.
The words backward, the words reversed, yes. But apparently if you chant that 3 times forward and 3 times backward, while focusing on the object of your desire, that's the wish spell.
Okay.
All right. Yep. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to try it, Roger?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's do it.
Bring up an object of your desire.
Feed tombol, bol tom fi, hak man spread. Oh, I got to do it 3 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Spread man's hak, fide tombol. Spread de man's hak, fide tombol. Spread man's hak, fide tombol. And now bol tom fi hak man spread. Bol tom fe hak man spread. Bol tom fe hak man spread. Guess what I wished for?
What?
Cake.
Did it happen?
It might. You gotta let these things simmer.
You gotta let them percolate. The next time you get cake, you'll be like, oh. What if you wake up and like your knees are cake or something? Because it's careful what you wish for.
Oh. Well, that's for time to tell.
We shouldn't have let you do it. You're also not a practitioner, so this is probably just, goofing around, hedge magery. I think you would have to, it's like summoning sugar daddy. You have to be engaged in the ritual.
See, I'm of the belief of the I guess Lovecraftian belief to where like you can just accidentally do a ritual, bring down the Dark Lord.
I think the intent is important. This is a spell to play a joke on someone so he can't hold his food down all day.
That's not a good joke.
It's kind of funny, right? Someone barfing everywhere. What if they had to go to court or something?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty funny, huh?
He'll be out in the wheat fields all day puking. He won't get any harvesting done.
Carve these staves on cheese or fish and have the one eat it whom you wish to make sport of. And whatever he eats that day will be of no use to him. And then there's like some runes, staves. The text then offers an antidote to the spell, which is to give the victim hot milk mixed with dried albumin.
Oh, sounds delicious.
Yeah, it sounds like he'd have to muscle through it.
Albumin. What is albumin? Oh, it's the white of an egg.
That does not sound like. I mean, I don't know. I'm drinking Orange Julius.
Sure. Honestly, I guess that's pretty close to the ingredients for making a cake.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
and we're getting closer to my wish.
Now here is
get tres leches.
That's two of the leches right there. Here is a spell to bewitch a woman and win her love. Now listen. This is not okay.
What if the step was just be yourself?
That would be a delightful turn, but you know it's going to be like, give her a poison that renders her unconscious. Brew the cosmonium.
It might be one that just like do something on a day, and then everyone in the area will find you.
Let's find out. Yeah, maybe it's a nutty professor situation.
Yeah.
If you want to bewilder a woman so that she finds her way to no one except you, make a hole in the floor where she goes over it and put Ettinspear blood.
Okay.
Perhaps...
It turns out it's the other one.
Not yet. Perhaps a type of snake, an Ettinspear. Ettinspear might be a type of snake. So you have to get snake blood and put it in a hole where the person walks over it every day and carve a ring on the outside of it and her name. And these staves, Moldpjors and Madur inverted, threefold, Blaud, Naud, Humla, and Gagpaldar, and read this conjuration. I look at you and you feel love and affection for me with all your heart. You're probably doing like hand stuff at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, eyebrows too.
Oh, you look at me. I look at you. Yeah. You can't sit anywhere.
Got a mind freak.
Yeah, you got to mind freak them. You can't sit anywhere nor stand to be anywhere unless you love me. This I ask of Odin and all those who know how to read woman runes, that you can neither endure nor thrive lest you love me with all your heart. Thus, it will be like you're burning your bones, and even worse in your fleshy parts. It will be allotted to you to be unmarried unless you love me. You shall freeze in your feet and never get honor or happiness. You'll sit as if burning, your hair falling out. May your clothes be ripped up unless you want to have me, you easy woman.
Well, it turned out to be the bad one.
Pretty intense.
Is the fucking incantation that they ask you to read in this book of fucking horny creep wizards.
It's very close to this. There's a spell in this necromantic manual that I have.
Yeah.
The whole thing is basically the person you cast it on.
Yeah.
They just feel all jittery and they can't feel anything, but they want to get to you.
Yeah.
And once they get to you, if they stand inside the circle you're in, they fall in love with you.
That is
and that whole burning on the of the flesh.
Listen,
is in there.
Listen, wizards. This is no way to start a relationship.
It is not. Cohesion is not a way to start a relationship. You know what is?
No, or coercion.
Being yourself.
Yeah. So what if you're a weird wizard? So what if you're the ice wizard from Adventure Time? This has big ice wizard vibes.
For sure.
The incantation even starts out like kind of okay. Like I look at you and you feel love and affection for me with all your heart. And by the end, they're full on incel neckbeard screaming on Reddit. You easy woman. Okay, the final spell, which may pull us back into the fold on the what is it? The Galdrabok. Fart runes.
Rune
That's
of
right.
Flatulence.
Write these staves on white calf skin with your blood. So, just stuff you have around the house. Rouse your blood from your thigh and say, I carve you 8 ass runes, 9 nod runes, 13 purse runes, which are to afflict your belly with great shitting and shooting pains. And all these may afflict your belly with very great farting. It sounds like a Donald Trump tweet. May your bones split asunder. May your guts burst. May your farting never stop, neither day nor night. This spell is going to make you fart so hard that you break bones from it.
Yeah, that's when you said fart runes, I thought, oh, this will be funny. This is more of a prank than making that guy puke.
Yeah. May your guts burst, farting never stop day and night. May you become as weak as the fiend Loki, who was snared by all the gods. In your mightiest name, Lord God, Spirit, Creator, Odin, Thor, Savior, Freya, Oper, Satan, Beelzebub, Helper, Mighty God, protect with your followers, Uteos, Morse, Nocte, Vitales.
Wow, they are all over the pantheons. This is jumping religions.
It is.
This is for farts. Farting has the most diverse cast of powers. They're like everyone. We need everyone.
Everyone. My God, what farts they are summoning from the pits of hell. The text has been translated by E. Flowers in the Galdrabok, an Icelandic book of magic. You can get the whole thing. You can read all of the spells. Crazier and crazier they get. You can figure out that hold person spell or the slay dog spell, which I'm glad we didn't get into here. But this has been Jordan's spell corner. No, I can do that. Jordan's spelling corner. There we go. Surely that won't get confusing.
Oh, maybe it will. Maybe it won't. That's for time to tell.
Sure.
It's now time to wrap up this little story of haunted objects and powerful grimoires. With a book by Zach Baggins. That's right. I got this from Zach Baggins, Ghost Hunting for Dummies.
Whoa, he'd know.
And I was thinking, if we're going to do a deep dive on haunted objects, I literally have to. Like every fucking haunted object I can think of.
He's got the largest collection.
Is owned by Zach Baggins. He has a haunted museum in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally is probably a home to more cursed items.
And you better believe he's
per
getting laid
square inch than anywhere other than Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, what's going on in Buckingham Palace?
Well, it's England. They have the most haunted taverns. I can only imagine they also have the most haunted palace.
England does run on ghosts.
As does Zach Baggins' haunted museum.
And ghosts run on Duncan.
He takes celebrities though. He has like a YouTube show. He'll take like Post Malone touched the or the Dybbuk box jumped out at Post Malone at the museum.
I was alone, was looking at a box.
There's the Devil's rocking chair that
was a Dybbuk on the rock.
The Devil's rocking chair
scaring me here.
Is there. He did an episode on that. We just recently talked about that actually.
Need to sit down, take a rest in this chair.
The hands that resist him painting.
Oh
which we also recently did an episode on, is there.
And the painting's really spooky.
Plus, Robert the Doll is now there.
Is that where he is?
I'm pretty sure. Let me see. No, he now lives at Fort East Martello Museum.
Okay, he's still there. Yeah, I don't think you want to go moving Robert around.
Interesting thing about the Hands That Resist Him painting. I read a story the other day about a guy who reached out to the original painter and asked for a commission. And the guy was like, sure, but don't tell me anything. I'm just going to paint you something and you'll get it. And he sent him a painting called The Hands That Invite Him.
Yes, I have a picture of that.
Yeah. Oof. And that's a crazy ass. There was a light bulb that exploded and they started hearing a tricycle. Yikes. And this guy had no idea what the painting coming to him was going to be. And all of this haunting stuff started happening weeks before he received it. And it was the painting. It was some kids and a tricycle.
It is a kid painting or with a paintbrush kind of holding, I don't know, something in his hand. There's a tricycle in there. There's the kids from The Hands Resist Him outside the window. This man is a good artist and a disturbed individual. I can't even say that. He's probably just a normal dude who likes to paint eerie stuff, you know?
Yeah, and then when he went, he's like using painting therapy to get over his divorce. And the first thing he paints is a portal into hell. Oh, no.
Oops. So I think he's definitely imbuing them all with negative energy.
Yeah. Well, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, my paintbrushes are made from the bones of Native Americans who were found on the site. Could that be?
It might be. It might be.
Could that have angered?
But out of all of the cursed and haunted magical items of the world, I am so attracted to the dolls. Like, that's where I'm like, I don't know. They're just like little people. I believe that they can just be imbued with like fucking a whole soul and shit.
Look, it's natural. As a doll myself, we have had this problem everywhere we go. Oh, you mean like little baby dolls, Raggedy Andy's and such. Carry on.
Oh, indeed. And that's why I don't want to talk about Robert the doll, but his, I guess, spiritual sister, Annabelle. I feel Annabelle doesn't get as much love like Robert does. Everyone's all about Robert the doll, but Annabelle's right here just being creepy as well.
Annabelle is scary, but Annabelle went mainstream and people got bored.
I didn't
Annabelle
get bored.
sold out.
Truly. I saw Annabelle live at the fucking Lions Lair in 87 and she possessed a dude on the sidewalk and ran him into the street. It was wild.
Well, don't believe everything you've heard of in the movies, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm an Annabelle stan, so I apologize. But I just think she's really neat.
Mm-hmm. It's very Marge Simpson of you. I just think she's neat. I agree. I'm Team Robert the Doll. Though I fear him, I do find him reprehensibly, regrettably neat.
Well, perhaps I can make you a little bit more scared of Annabelle the doll.
Okay.
The history of Annabelle remains a bit of the mystery, remains a bit of a mystery, I think, which is kind of why I'm intrigued by it.
Mm-hmm. You like things that rhyme.
Do know that it has been one of the most famous items locked away in the Occult Museum of Haunted and Cursed Objects that was owned by the investigators and some say scam artist Ed and Lorraine Warren. Mm-hmm. According to the Warrens, the Raggedy Ann doll was given to a nursing student named Donna by her mother in 1970.
Oh, okay.
Within days, Donna and her roommate noticed that the doll appeared to change positions when no one was looking. Typical doll stuff, but it'll scare me to this day.
That is not typical. Roger, once again, that is unusual behavior.
I grew up, and I'm sure you've heard these stories. But we've had some new listeners. So I had a doll in my childhood that turned around and watched me play Final Fantasy IV growing up.
That shouldn't have happened. Everyone there should have been alarmed.
Listen, I know that now as an adult, but growing up and having all your dolls turn and watch you as you play video games, you just start thinking that's normal.
Seems fun. Who doesn't want an audience?
That's why you're so into Twitch. That was the beginning.
It is. I pretend everyone viewing is a doll.
Yeah, you're big in the haunted doll scene on Twitch.
Soon after the incantation, they will be.
It's in the book.
But now, like, basically, while like you would leave, like some hauntings, you leave the place. Now it's like, oh, I thought I put you here. I came back. Now you're here. Annabelle was just doing this when they turned around.
Annabelle, listen. Cool it.
Eventually, it began to show up in different rooms of the house, seemingly just under its own power.
Jeez.
That's when they decided to get help. A psychic told them that Annabelle was possessed by the spirit of Annabelle Higgins, a little girl who died under mysterious circumstances. The spirit
hit by a tractor.
The spirit
claimed, invisible tractor. They said it was mysterious.
The spirit claimed that she only wanted to be loved. Feeling sorry for her, Donna and her roommate gave Annabelle permission to remain within the doll. Indeed. Now, a short time later, the doll attacked a friend of Donna's.
Well, I mean,
so much for just wanting the love.
It's a stranger coming into the house where Annabelle lives. She doesn't know this person. She thinks it's a break-in, maybe.
Nate. Ghosts and spirits are not cats. And it is not okay.
Tell that
it's
to
very okay for your cat to attack guests. It is not okay for the ghost to attack guests.
Tell that to my aquarium full of electric cats.
So where was I on here? A priest was contacted after their friend was attacked. The priest contacted the Warrens because, you know, I guess every priest in America in the 1970s had the Warrens' phone number. And the Warrens declared that Annabelle Higgins was not a spirit, but a demonic entity posing as a little girl. So that's why they couldn't find any report of an Annabelle Higgins who died. It was really a demon pretending. Which they're known to do, I guess.
It's a good movie. You should watch it. They talk about how like objects can't become possessed. So like this is like Annabelle was never possessed. Annabelle is a puppet, more or less, that this thing was like dangling around and being like, I'm Annabelle. Can I come into your house?
So the doll ended up with them and it was locked away in their museum for safekeeping. Since then, she has been blamed for a number of fatal and near fatal accidents involving those who doubt the spirit's power. So like Jordan said, that was that with the Annabelle story. How many Annabelles are there? Like 17 now?
There's a whole Annabelle extended U.
Good for her. Anyway,
good for her. She's making it happen, you know?
Not long after opening the Haunted Museum, this is Zach Baggins talking, I invited Tony Spira, Annabelle's current owner, to bring the doll to Las Vegas for a special episode of Ghost Adventures. I knew the stories, and I was aware that Annabelle was said to be so evil that she was kept locked in a case and handled only with gloves and holy water for less than a minute at a time.
She's kept in a case and handled only with evil-proof gloves.
Man, when I was reading this, I was like,
holy water in case anyone gets bitten.
People do know the story of Annabelle, but do they know what Annabelle's up to right now?
Yeah, she's I mean, if this was 1922 or something, she'd be on tour around the American South.
Doing this
spreading curses.
This is the same to her. She's I'm sure she was made in that early time. She's an old doll. That's her secret. She's keeping it to herself, but she's all like, this takes me back.
You might hear me rolling dice in the background.
But that's what you're doing.
And you don't think things are cursed, but there's a couple of D6s out there that I have an ongoing aggressive relationship with.
That's fair. So I was aware that the doll's only handled with gloves. So that's a curse of straw technique. Do you touch this with your bare hands?
No.
Do you touch it with your bare skin?
I mean, my character would, but
yeah, obviously.
But technically, you don't want to. Anyway, they touch this curse of straw rules, gloves only, holy water. I'm sure being sprinkled about or just maybe kept on the side for emergency. Anyway, it was said she was even responsible for harming people and even killing one visitor to the Warrens Museum in Connecticut. This doll's got a death count.
Wow. How did that happen?
Count. When Tony Spira agreed, it does not say. When Tony Spira agreed to let Annabelle out of her case and brought the doll, we were all warned not to touch her. But as she was placed in the middle of the room, something drew me to her.
Oh, you dick, Zach. You fucking dick.
I touched Annabelle.
Why, Zach? Oh, yeah, the thing that they said don't touch. Please respect my wishes.
Well, he had to show the council where the bad person touched him.
All the people watching the show saw me do it, as did Tony, who got angry and put her back in the case, warning me that I was in danger. All that I can say to the people who criticized me for touching Annabelle is that while they may think they know what it's like to be in these kinds of situations, they don't. I absorb and sense energies around me at a very high level. Whether it's from
need to be on TV. Don't you understand that?
Whether it's from living people, residual energy, objects, or from spirits. I've been like this my entire life. I'm not a psychic medium. I'm a sensitive. It's a rush. It's a draining. It's an exhilaration. And it's terrifying all in one, depending on who or what I am in contact with. He just described touching the doll of Annabelle and what he gets from this like it was fucking cocaine.
You guys ever get fucked up on Haunted Doll, man?
Like what? Who would have thought that in like the story of Annabelle, and you've seen the movies, like a lot of that's coming from the true or the alleged stories of it and shit, and like what I just read for you. And who would have guessed that it kind of ends with Zach Baggins doing lines off of her chest?
Woo! That's so funny.
And that's kind of the end of it. There are layers and layers of negative energy around Annabelle, and I was completely affected by everything that was happening. And I became very sad for no reason at all.
Zach Baggins is he's like a porn star who can no longer like experience sexual pleasure, and so they have to do crazier and crazier shit, but with scary things. He keeps pushing the envelope, like he's gonna get arrested for like pissing on King Tut or something.
He does say that he wished he had not done it. Touching her led to many strange events, and it was a dangerous thing to do. If you ever decide to tempt fate and fool around with a cursed or haunted object, think again. The legends that surround many of them may seem far-fetched out, but as many unlucky people can tell you, they got started for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Pretty scary stuff.
What a weird history of Annabelle. Like, sure, she went mainstream, but going mainstream comes with those celebrity stories, man. And here we go, Zach Baggins getting high off of her.
Yeah, you know what I consistently think about is like, what about all the Annabelles we don't hear about, you know?
Dude,
what about
the
Norquist Clown Room?
Dude, the Norquist Clown Room is fine. What isn't okay is the one clown that was holding the balloons that got out that my mom can't even remember. And I swear to God, it was there. And I think she's gaslighting me because she also saw it, watch her, and she doesn't want to talk about it.
Or she's in league with the clowns, or she saw something and she, no, it's okay. I don't want to plant that seed.
Okay, sorry.
I think what's more likely is she saw something. She had her own harrowing night of pure terror with the clowns. And she put them in a bag, the one clown in a bag, and sank it in the river and doesn't want to talk about it.
There was a creek by the apartment where we lived.
There you go.
Anyway, that's my segment.
And that
ends this deep dive
for another episode of Werewolf Radar. Thank you so much for joining us. Shout out to Chuck from Snappy Little Numbers for our intro and outro song. Shout out to those who patronize us at our Patreon.
And we got to do something special for them.
Oh, shit. It's time.
It's time.
Oh. And we're changing it. This is no longer a patron howl out.
That was 2001.
This is, 2022. We're doing 2022, the patron gurgaloo is what we're calling it.
All right. Are you ready?
Patron gurgaloo. We will be regaling you with the pained gurgles, the howl of the Fishman.
We're doing everyone $5 and up, as according to the Patreon contract of blood. Phil Corridor, Billy Gutierrez, Tobias Livingston, Lee Southwell, Joe, Jason Sweet, Alicia Coy, Adam Passion, Abby Claboo, Adam Flint, Liam Dahl, Jessica, Jake Speck, the Carrion Soldier, Dean Malik, Dakota Vincent, Adra Kinkle, and our Chancellor of Madness, Michael Przak. If you want to get your name gurgled at the end of our end of the month deep dive, sign up for our Patreon. All tiers get you it. It's that $5 tier. Actually, let's gurgle some more because I erased the other tiers that these people are grandfathered into. Nick Bailey, Michael King, Marcelo Duran, and Jason Waddell. Thank you for continuing all that. Like I said, if you want to get your name gurgled, check out our Patreon.
Oh, it's okay, sweetie.
Werewolf Radar.
It's my dog. It's scaring my dog. It's just the dark speech of the underrealm, sweetheart. Oh, she's crying black tears.
If you want your dog to be crying black tears, once again, check out our Patreon.
Check out the Patreon. You will understand the gurgles. You too will come to understand the gurgle.
Awesome paranormal fiction. I should be finishing up a story.
All kinds of
tomorrow.
Shit. Look,
I had my car broken into, so it might be in March. But the point is, it's coming.
And we know it was one of you, so
we know that you're trying to get my cursed tea set. I leave in there.
It was the Cape Hill Creep struck again.
Dude, it fucking was. I forgot what neighborhood I lived in. It was that fucking Cape Hill Creep for real this time.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Their bilirous, scrotal, cape-like form.
Dude, I am fucking suing my realtor. When I moved in, he totally forgot to mention the Cape Hill Creep.
Hey, is this place creep safe? You gotta ask. Go to creepsafe.com. Actually, don't. That's probably something.
Go to monstroco.com. Wait. Let me buy the
don't do that
domain to that. Yeah, let me buy the domain to that first.
Good. And then just put up a picture of an eye gazing back at you. We have all the information we need.
If you want to support projects like that, werewolfradar.com or our Patreon, support us.
Yeah. Point is, if you get mixed up with them Werewolf Radar boys, you're going to have a lot of fun. We're on Twitch. We're playing freaking Curse of Strahd every Monday, twitch.tv/werewolf_radar. We call the show Steak Night. It's a lot of fun. We're getting close. Strahd, you hear that?
We're coming for you.
That's the sound of your time running out, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Strahd kidnapped my character, which was
turned him into a panda.
Yeah.
And took away our nuclear weapon. But you know what? We got another nuclear weapon because we have a powerful paladin cleric, multi-class freak job on our hands.
It's pretty badass.
And I've decided he sounds like Nigel Thornberry.
Check us out on our on our Twitter and Instagram too. I'm putting up awesome, fun little images plus paranormal, just facts about various things we talk about throughout the week. Follow us there at Werewolf Radar, at Werewolf Radar Podcasts.
Yeah, we're out here. Come find us.
Hit us up with your personal ghost stories. Also,
hit us with our personal ghost stories. We would love to hear those.
And if you
we will read them on the podcast.
And if you hate social media because it's not about the sole subject you care about, the paranormal, check out our Discord where we only talk about the paranormal, and we have other channels, I guess, for TV talk and some video games, but it's a lot better than Facebook.
But all of those things are just there as distractions, mere distractions from our real work, which is, stemming the tide, the tide of darkness that is rising across the country. Mothmen, mummies, various gremlinoids, you name it. We got you covered.
We got you.
Until next time, as always, our sign-off line on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Punch!